I think we jumped the gun on Anthony Edwards. And yeah, like he stopped. You know what? He actually stopped the under 20 point streak today. He had, well, yesterday. Well, it's today. It's 6 a.m. 6 a.m. for me. I got up and I legitimately fell asleep at halftime in these games. I fell asleep at halftime, and again, thank God, like these basketball channels, if you type in Mavs versus Timberwolves third quarter, it will show you a 10-minute breakdown of the third quarter and show you the whole thing. So I got to watch the end of the game anyway, and this one was a nice game. Man, this was a nice game. Just all around a nice game. But I will say that Anthony Edwards was not great. Wasn't bad either. But like when we talk about which player in this series is meant to be the face of the NBA, the player we have to talk about is Luka Doncic. Like Luka Doncic is clearly better than him. Clearly better. Luka is clearly better than him. Kyrie, when Kyrie wants to be, Kyrie's better than him. And I do think that is... We got so hyped up in the playoff series and what Ant-Man does as far as, like, how fun he is as not only a player to watch, how fun he is just as a person. Like, Anthony Edwards is... He's arrogant in a likable way, which is really hard to do. He's been winning. But the problem is that with these young players, we love them at the start. But if they don't win fast enough, that's just... People turn. Just like Jason Tatum. We loved Jason Tatum. He's not winning fast enough. And not only not winning fast enough when you're in a position to win. And it's very different if you get to the finals as the guy and win. And then the following year, you go and lose to an 8th seed. And do not look great. And the year after, you sleepwalk your way to the probable NBA Finals. Like, that is why the Jason Tatum being one of the best players in the world conversations have really dried up. But with Ant, they haven't yet. This is Ant's first real playoff run as well. So when it comes to Anthony Edwards, like, I think people will cut him a little bit of slack. But I said that he is a borderline... I said on stream that he is a borderline top 10 player in the world. And everyone was like, he's top 5, he's top 3. And this is like during Game 7. And I'm like, no. Do not put Anthony Edwards right now over Kevin Durant. They're a similar level player. I'm not saying he's worse, but I'm not saying he's better. And that is kind of the level of Anthony Edwards right now. He is the Jalen Brunson level player. He is that 7 to 12 range player. If you ask me who's better, in general, Anthony Edwards or PG, that's a debate. Who will be better? Probably Ant-Man. But, like, the guy is 2-5. Is it 2-5? In his last 7, yeah. They're 2-5 in the last 7 playoff games. And in those games, Anthony Edwards has dropped less than 20 in half of them. Like, Jaden McDaniels has as many 20-point games as Anthony Edwards. And Jaden McDaniels is what was expected to be one-dimensional defender. But it could honestly be the lights just being too bright. And that happens. And honestly, that happens with young players. This is his first real postseason run. And they beat the defending champions. It's not crazy that Anthony Edwards is struggling a bit here. It's not crazy that Anthony Edwards may not actually be the best player in the world. It's not crazy that Anthony Edwards may not be a top 2 or 3 player in the world. But at the same time, we've got to... we got to be okay with that. We got to be absolutely just okay with the fact that we might have jumped the gun on this. We might have absolutely jumped the gun on this. And I think Anthony Edwards is going to be fine. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be a really good player. But I think it's just the style of play. Like, the style of play with his charisma, with the fact his team was succeeding, meant we definitely jumped it. Like the Michael Jordan comparisons, he clearly doesn't want them. But he very clearly also thinks he's the best player in the world. If you ever just watch him play, the shot's just not falling, and the shot hasn't been falling for 5 or 6 games. And this is when I realized, like, okay, yeah, maybe Ant isn't that guy. If any of these players in their prime went through this type of a stretch, a KD, a Luka, a LeBron, they would be killed. They would be absolutely killed if they went through this stretch. And that is on, like, that's on them. That is on them. That is on, like, them with their expectations. Whereas there's no real expectations for Ant. And I think until Ant goes into that situation where, even like the Tatum, like when Tatum has a bad game, everybody knows about it. Whereas Anthony Edwards just seems to get a pass. Albeit, he plays with good defense. Like, I'll give him that. Is that unlike a lot of these superstars, when he's not having a great game, he does what it is needed to win a lot of the time. But doing what's needed to win in games isn't what's going to make you a Michael Jordan-esque player. Like, everybody talking about Michael Jordan's defense, this, defense, that. Like, Michael Jordan did not guard the best guard on the other team. Like, he just didn't. Whereas Anthony Edwards a lot of the time is trying to do it. And he's struggling to do both. He really, really is. So I'm interested to see what way Minnesota come out next series. I think they're going to be fine. Like, I don't think the Timberwolves are going to lose in 4. I think they could. I don't think they will. But if they're to come back and win this series, it's going to be because of Anthony Edwards. And this is a comeback, like, that if we see happening, he might be ascending into at least where Dwayne Wade was in 06. At least into the, okay, you may not be Kobe, but you're the next best thing category. And we saw it against Dallas 18 years ago. Dwayne Wade 2-0 down, then goes and averages nearly 40 in the series. This is his Dwayne Wade moment. You're 2-0 down against the Dallas Mavericks, who have a European superstar who is looking for his first ring. Looking to become one of the greatest players of all time. Not greatest Europeans of all time. He already is, but looking to become the greatest of all time. Which he will with this win. And honestly, Dirk would have with that win. This is your Dwayne Wade moment. Parallel. Just conference finals and not finals. This is your Wade moment, Anthony Edwards. Are you going to take it? Or are you going to shrink?